ISO 20022 is suddenly everywhere in crypto. Everywhere you look, people are talking about it, right? XRP community, XLM, Algorand, even Ethereum is getting mentioned. But here's the problem. Most people talking about ISO 20022 can't explain what it actually is. And if you don't understand that, you don't understand which cryptos might actually benefit from it by 2026. So let's clear this up without the hype. What's up, everyone? Welcome back to Ledger Prime, where we focus on structure, regulation, and probability. Not hype, not hopium, not all that garbage. We're going to preserve our capital and invest like adults. So today, we're breaking down what ISO 20022 actually is, why banks and payment networks care about it, and which cryptos are often labeled as ISO 20022 compliant, and which ones could realistically benefit from being compliant in 2026. So let's dig into this one. So what this ISO 20022 messaging standard actually is. Okay? It is not a blockchain standard. Okay, so let's get this straight. This is not blockchain specific. It is a global financial messaging standard that is used by banks, payment networks, and financial institutions to communicate transaction data back and forth. So all these big banks, they agreed on a messaging format. So let's picture a text file. Okay, so right now, bank one might say, okay, who the account number that is sending the money is first. On the next line, it's who's getting the money. On the third line, it's how much it is. On the fourth, okay, bank two might have all those pieces of data flopped around. Enter Swift. Swift will take and decode all these messages, figure out what's where, who's it from, what this one means, what that one means, and facilitate that transaction. Okay? The ISO 20022 standard says, no, guys, we are going to this common format, this common language. So all the messages sent from all the banks look the same. Like, seems like common sense, but that's what it is. It is a standard messaging format. Think a text file format that all the banks are now going to send all the transaction data in the same format. It's a common language for money. So Swift, like I said, is migrating to the standard. Central banks are adopting the standard. Payment rails are aligning around it. So crypto isn't replacing it. It is trying to interoperate with the standard, which means if crypto can send compliant banking transaction messages, it can work with all the banks, right? So it's kind of big for crypto. And that distinction matters. It matters big time that is trying to interoperate with the messaging standard, not replacing it. So why does it matter for crypto? So by 2026, traditional finance and crypto will need to talk to each other. And this standard, ISO 20022 standard, will enable rich transaction data, compliance and auditability, interoperability between systems, blockchains that can integrate cleanly with the new messaging standard will have a tremendous advantage over any competitor who can't. But ISO compliant doesn't mean officially certified. Just because you're compliant doesn't mean you're certified to be used by massive banks. It means, yes, we are technically compatible with the messaging system and institution friendly, right? Anybody can do that. But if you don't, you're going to be left behind. So let's talk which tokens are currently compatible with the new messaging system. XRP is one of them. XRP is the most commonly cited ISO 2022 friendly crypto. Ripple has spent years and years working with banks, payment providers, and financial institutions around this, right? They want to work with banks. They're building partnerships with banks. That is the whole reason Ripple exists, is they want to work with the banks and be the new bank of the future. And what's their value prop? Fast settlement, low fees, liquidity bridging between currencies. And if global payments continue moving on chain, XRP could be positioning itself well. But the risk is regulation and adoption speed. Okay, that's what we have a long enough attention span to make money. All right, the next crypto, guys, is XLM, Stellar, which focuses more on retail payments and remittances. Right, Stellar is also compliant with the new messaging standard, and it has strong stablecoin integrations, partnerships focused on financial inclusion, and a simpler, lower cost design. It's much quieter than XRP. There's not a lot of hype around XLM, but sometimes baseline infrastructure can win. And XLM benefits if remittance flows migrate to compliant blockchain rails. Okay, so being compliant automatically puts you in favor with the banks. The next one, guys, is Algorand. Algorand, it's overlooked. I'm just going to say it. Like, it kind of sits in the shadows, but it was designed from day one with compliance in mind. And that's why some of these chains, guys, are being kind of like, oh, it's overlooked. Well, guess what? When I'm buying this stuff on Coinbase and other people are buying it, they really don't care. They don't care if it's compliant, right? It doesn't matter if it's compliant if it just sits in my account. But if a bank, and banks move slow, if they're going to actually integrate it and use it for a purpose, compliance matters, right? Algorand also has strong governance, institutional grade performance, and it has been involved with CBDC pilots, central bank digital currency pilots, tokenized asset projects, government partnerships. Algorand benefits if institutions prioritize clean, regulated infrastructure. And now let's get into Ethereum and others. Like there are many other compliant tokens. Okay, we didn't cover them all here. Ethereum isn't ISO20022 native, but it doesn't need to be, because Ethereum is going to benefit through tokenized assets, stablecoins, layer 2 scaling. Banks won't run their core payments on Ethereum, but they will interact with it. And interoperability layers matter here. So the reality check over all this compliance, all the messaging, right? Compliance alone is not going to pump the prices. Just because something is compliant, don't go putting your retirement into it. Because like I said before, compliance, technical compliance, means, okay, I can format my notepad file correctly. It doesn't mean adoption. Markets are going to reward adoption, liquidity, regulatory clarity. So ISO 20022 is plumbing, not a hype engine. And the coins that benefit in 26 will be the ones actually used, not just mentioned in tweets. Okay? This isn't about replacing banks. This messaging standard is not about replacing banks. It's about connecting everybody uniformly, right? So they're all speaking the same language. And cryptocurrencies that can align with that reality quietly, compliantly, and reliably are the ones that have a step forward. You know, they're ahead of the competition going into 2026. So ignore the hype, watch the infrastructure. Guys, if this helped, hit like, subscribe for more regulation-aware crypto analysis. Drop me a comment. Which ISO 20022 coins are you watching? And do you think it even matters? Right? Let me know what you think, and I'll see you in the next one.